What's going on, everybody? Josh Engleman for Awesemo.com, and I am back with my DraftKings Showdown breakdown for Tuesday Night Football's game between the Cowboys and the Ravens. Now be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all of our other content goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman so you can get an update to these sim results as we get closer to lock. I'll be on our live before lock show tonight, about 90 minutes before lock. So tune in then. I'll drop my updates just before we go live. And finally, let me know in the comments section, who are your favorite options at captain and at utility for tonight's slate? Average fantasy points in the optimal winning lineup, 126.1. The median salary used, this one's kind of wild, 48,200. There's two really solid paydown options today. 2.9 Cowboys, 3.1 Ravens make up the optimal lineup. Ravens 7.5 point favorites at home with a 45.5 point game total. Now it's time to dive in to the captains. And if we're talking captains, we have to start all the way at the top, 17,400, but he shows up as the optimal captain 41% of the time. I think that's the highest number I've seen all year. It's clearly Lamar Jackson. He does everything for the Ravens. The chances of multiple rushing touchdowns are very high. Even if he gets a couple passing touchdowns, they could be going to anybody. The chances that Lamar is the optimal captain, still not 50% though. 59% of the time, it's going to be somebody else. I think you should look at someone like Amari Cooper at 14,400. He's the only other player to show up in the optimal more than 10% of the time. Cooper coming in about 12% of the time. After that, it gets ugly. Zeke, Dalton, Brown, CeeDee Lamb, all these guys are in the 6 to 8% range. I would pay very close attention to our projected ownership once it comes out. If anybody's significantly higher than that 6 to 8 range, ignore them. If anybody's oddly lower than that range, go ahead and grab them and use them as a flyer in a larger field GPP. But for now, it's Lamar in tier 1. There is nobody in tier 2. There's probably not anybody in tier 3. Then you get to Amari Cooper. Then you get to the rest of the guys. Now, utility is a whole nother can of worms. Ezekiel Elliott at 10,200 is the most optimal utility play, showing up in 52% of sims. Lamar is so good that he shows up as the second highest guy, 49% of sims. He's only 11.6. Just in the grand scheme of things, 89% of the time Lamar Jackson is in the optimal. That's how much he does for this Ravens team. Only other person north of 40%, Andy Dalton at 10K. So the core for sure, Lamar Jackson, Zeke, and Dalton. Then we work our way down into the mid 30s. CeeDee Lamb, 37.8% chance of being in the optimal. We get Amari Cooper at 33%, Marquise Brown at 32.4%, Justin Tucker at 4K. And then we go all the way down. $800 projected for 7.5 fantasy points. That's Devin Duvernay. $800, way too cheap for this particular slate. Makes it really easy to roster Lamar Jackson. That's part of the reason you see Lamar Jackson's numbers being so high, because it's really easy to afford him when we have someone like Duvernay at $800. But he's not the only cheap guy. At $1,000, just projected for 0.2 of a point less, Dez Bryant, something that I never expected to say this season, shows up in the optimal 27% of the time. There are two legitimate options to pay down with at $1,000 or below on this slate, which opens up every single combination you could possibly be looking for. Those are very clearly my two preferred pay down options. I don't really want to go anywhere else. If we're going above Dez Bryant, I don't really even want anything in that middle tier. Between Justin Tucker and Dez Bryant, there's not a lot to like. So keep your eye on Duvernay, keep your eye on Dez Bryant. Otherwise, keep yourself fixated at the top end. Now, I don't really have ownership right now, so I can't talk about too many fades. And at captain, it's going to be hard to have anything that stands out as an obvious fade. I wouldn't be surprised if one of Zeke, Dalton, Marquise Brown, or CeeDee Lamb picks up north of 10% ownership. At that case, I would probably come in lighter, but it's too early to speculate now. What I can do is speculate at the utility spot. So $8,600 J.K. Dobbins, not all that interesting to me in the utility because I assume he's over-owned. Shows up in the optimal 26% of the time. So let me be clear. That's a quarter of the time that we simulate this game. J.K. Dobbins is in the optimal. I'm expecting him to be owned a little bit more than that. If he's not, great, play J.K. Dobbins. Mark Ingram, on the other hand, at 5,600, just simply don't play him. If we're talking about other guys that could be overowned, you know, we could look at someone like Michael Gallup at 4,400, probably a little bit easier to go slightly higher or slightly lower in salary. Gus Edwards at 5,400, another guy about 16% in the optimal. I don't really love the middle ground. I don't generally get to much in that 4K to like low 6K range. CeeDee Lamb is sort of the floor for that. And then we start to get into weird stuff like Ravens D at 5,800. I get it. It's just usually not something that I'm looking to do in a large field GPP. So if we're just summing up fades, Mark Ingram is clearly at the top. I don't know why I'm clapping, but I hope you didn't hear it, but if you did hear it, my apologies. That's probably really annoying. Mark Ingram, definitely the biggest fade. I assume J.K. Dobbins will be a light fade. Not much interest in Michael Gallup. Not a ton of interest in Greg Zuerlein. Cowboys D, yich. Tony Pollard, yich. Luke Wilson, yich. Alrighty, folks, that will do it. Those are my DraftKings Showdown plays for Tuesday Night Football, Cowboys and Ravens. One last time, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. We're trying to get to 50,000 subscribers. We can only do that if you hit that subscribe button. But the big one is, follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman. You want to get these sim results as we get closer to lock. I shouted out Cole Beasley yesterday in my final tweet. Turns out he had a pretty big day, ended up being the optimal captain. You don't want to miss it again tonight. Look around, there should be a FanDuel link around here somewhere for this game. I'm breaking it all down. I'll be on vacation from Thursday to Sunday, so when I drop my top 5 video Thursday morning, that's it for me. I'm going to be hands off until Monday morning, so you won't see me again until Monday's showdown, but keep your eyes peeled for the main slate top 5. That's it. Good luck. I'm out of here.